You're watching the Publisher Spotlight Showcase on KidLit TV. And now here are your hosts, Rocco Staino and Ellen Myrick.
Hi, I'm Rocco Staino, and welcome to the KidLit TV studio. Today we have the Publisher Spotlight Preview and Ellen Myrick. Welcome back.
Thank you, Rocco. It's always good to be here.
And it's always good to have you because I learn so much every time you come. And how many books do we have today?
We have 42 books we're going to be talking about today from 25 different publishers.
42 books from 25 publishers.
Yep.
Well, you know, those 42 books can be yours. And how can they be theirs?
Just comment on the link, comment on the live stream below where you're watching this right now. There's probably a more elegant way of saying this.
Yeah, but you're doing a very good job.
Yeah, anyway,
and there's another
comment.
way. Yes, the hashtag for the program is PubSpotPreview. So you could say, Rocco looks great today, and you will be
Valid
eligible.
comment.
Yes, you will be eligible to win the 42 books from 25 publishers.
Yep.
And there's also a checklist, because I know after listening to us about these 42 books, you probably want to make note of some of them. So the checklist is available on the KidLit site, and it's also available on
publisherspotlight.com.
Yes.
So all right.
Yeah, so let's get to it.
Yeah.
So, what in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and my friend Chris Lloyd, absolutely everything. A history of Earth, dinosaurs, rulers, robots, and other things too numerous to mention. Well, when I was a kid, and still, I loved books like this because I would just peruse the book and find out all this information that I did not know. And going through the books today, I learned a lot. And I enjoyed this book, and towards the end, there's a whole book on wars. And, it's the centennial of World War I. And there's some very interesting information on that war and others, and not to mention rulers and Earth and dinosaurs. So that's what we have. And
Yes.
you have another book?
I do. This is also from What on Earth Publishing, and this is I Spy Wild Ways Animals See the World. We have cleverly covered the French version with the English language versions, but I want to show you some of these because they're just so spectacular. So this gives you an idea of what the world looks like through different animals' eyes. Now, we are very similar to chimpanzees, to monkeys. So this gives you an idea of what it would look like. Here's a scene this, remember that. Now I'm gonna switch over here to cats. And cats, you have what they look like, what they can see
right.
in the daytime, but also what they can see at night.
Oh.
Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Now, I have to find my favorite one. Oh, this is kind of fun because horses also see with their nose. It's amazing how that works.
I didn't know that.
Well,
Something else I just learned.
We always learning, always learning. So there's lots of information. The chameleon is my favorite because chameleons have omnidirectional eyes. So this one eye is looking up there, while this eye is looking there.
Ah.
So lots of great information in here. And I think it's just something that once you start going into it, you just can't put it down. So I was showing this to reviewers, and I could tell they just wanted to go ahead and start spending time with the book right away. So I don't know how much happened in those offices later that day, but that's okay. So that is from What on Earth I Spy.
Yes. And another fun book, and from
Gecko Press in New Zealand.
Gecko, yes. Inside the Villains. And, we know there are villains that keep appearing in books. For example, the wolf.
Yes.
Yes, and so anyway, we have the wolf over here. But when we say getting inside the villain, they really mean getting inside the villain, because we could actually...
Oh, can I help?
Yes, please do. And then there's like a little string you pull, and yes, we know what's in some of those wolves'
Yeah, looks
stomachs.
like some piggies.
Yes. Yes, and so there are characteristics about the villain, and then there's also, I believe, a story. And here we have probably the story everyone thinks about when they think of the wolf and the 7 little goats. And here we know more about about the wolf. You know, games they like, things they fear. And my library, which actually has a list of books that feature the wolf. But it's not just about wolves, because we all know there are other villains that Yes, and then we have the giant. Yes, and I know your favorite thing is when we go into the giant's head.
His tiny little brain.
He has a very little brain. Yes. And for equity, we have the witch. yes. And so here we have the witch. And the story there is Baba Yaga. And then we have, some of the characteristics, long nose and very ugly. Yes, so this is a very fun book.
Oh, yeah. You can spend a lot of time with that one.
Yes.
Our next book we want to talk about from Gecko Press is Dear Professor Wale, and this is a follow-up to Yours Sincerely Giraffe, which was on a lot of Best of the Year lists this past year. I think there's some fans in our studio audience of Yours Sincerely Giraffe. It was an outstanding international book of the year. So Gecko Press is in New Zealand, but this book came from Japan, and this also is an epistolary book. So it's a chapter book, illustrated, and then you've got letters like this one, which I'm going to share with you. Dear you, whoever you are, who lives on the other side of the horizon. I am Wale. I live at Wale Point. My body is almost all head. That's why I'm so smart, people say. Please tell me about yourself. Yours sincerely, Wale at Wale Point. Well, he sends this letter off into the world and gets some letters in response, and they start a school at Wale Point. So I hope you'll check this one out. Really fun read, and this again is from Gecko.
Well, and a debut author with Tilbury House.
Keeping the whale theme.
Yeah, keeping the whale theme.
Yeah.
It's Charlotte's Bones, and Charlotte is a beluga whale that they actually found the bones of poor Charlotte in a field in Vermont. How did a beluga whale end up in Vermont?
Tell me.
Well, you have to read the book to find out all the facts, but there were scientists involved, and as we said, this is based on fact. And Charlotte actually is on exhibit, and it says, today Charlotte can be seen in an exhibition hall miles north of where she died. And sometimes when the hall is quiet, her bones still whisper. And I mentioned that it's a debut book. The author is Erin Rounds, who lives in Vermont and is a teacher. Well, Erin, you did a great job.
Well, we have another book that goes into nature and science, which is something Tilbury does really, really well. This is a middle grade or chapter book series called the Acadia Files. This is the very first one, which is summer science, but they also have a fall book coming out. And Acadia is a kid who's just fascinated with science. So in each one of these books, you have several different kind of mysteries that she wants to solve through science. The missing blueberries, it's all about the genes, where sands come from, etc. So, because she wonders, why are blueberries blue? And why is my hair curly? And her kids say, you want to find out? Use the scientific method. So she does. And when she uses the scientific method, she does it with lots of great graphics and colors. So I think there are going to be a lot of kids who are really going to enjoy delving into this book and learning more about science and how science can impact them, and also why their hair is so curly or not. It's from Tilbury.
Yes, and Tilbury's up in Maine, isn't it?
They are, not too far from Vermont.
Yes,
yeah.
And so the interesting thing with the 25 publishers here today, we should have a world map, and we could put pins, because we're
Next time.
we're traveling all over. So we're going from Maine down to Peachtree, which is in Atlanta.
Yes, they are.
It was in Atlanta. Pipsqueaks, slowpokes, and stinkers, celebrating animal underdogs by Melissa Stewart. And we always as I said, I always learn something, and I learned about some animals that I did not know, and I had that great page. Where is it? It's here somewhere.
Lots of animals you couldn't pronounce.
Yes, and we're going
Melissa
to find
Stewart,
that.
if you're watching
yes,
this, tell us how to pronounce them right.
Yes, where is it? Oh no, Rook. Oh, maybe I had it. I know exactly where it is. It's right here.
We're almost there.
We got it, and it says right here. Can anyone identify that bird? You think this is a skunk? It's not a skunk. So right here, pew! What's that stinking stench? Meet the hoatzin. This strange bird eats lots of leaves, and as it digests them, the body reeks worse than cow manure. Ew. What kid would not love that? Let me tell you. And then right here, again, you think it's a skunk. It is not. Feeling sick to your stomach? Then you might not want to know about the zorillas. Their nasty spray is stronger than a skunk's, and the awful odor lasts longer. Should hoatzins and zorillas clean up their act? I don't think so.
Fun, just the way they are.
Yes.
Now also from Peachtree, I have Hansel and Gretel. And you may remember Beth Wolven from her New York Times. And that was, actually we featured the book trailer on one of these. We premiered that. So now she goes to Hansel and Gretel. This will be the last of this particular series. And has anyone here ever thought about the fact that the witch kind of gets a bum rap in this story?
I've always thought that.
That's all good. Yeah, thank you for that.
Really, because these kids come out of nowhere and disturb the poor woman.
Exactly, exactly. So she really just wants to keep the forest tidy, right? And the kids are spreading breadcrumbs everywhere. I'm worried these breadcrumbs might lead birds and mice to my gingerbread home, said Willow, the very nice witch. That was my editorial comment. Please, could you help me clean them up? Hansel and Gretel didn't like this idea, so they left. They left Willow to tidy up on her own, but Willow did not get angry because Willow was a good witch. Now, sometimes even good witches get pushed beyond where they need to go. Maybe I shouldn't have a spoiler alert, but she comes back and the kids are eating her house. I mean, how rude is that, right?
That is, yeah.
Yeah, and the house,
home invasion.
Exactly. Yes. And then her home collapses because it was made out of gingerbread, right? And so when the home collapses, it's accidents. Accidents happen. You know, the kids are in the, it's an accident. And so eventually we see, there they are. That's how it ends up. It's all good because as it turns out, Willow wasn't always a good witch. So yes, this is a retelling of Hansel and Gretel from the witch's perspective, and I hope it'll teach kids not to eat other people's houses.
Right, I will be a character witness for the witch. Okay.
Thank you very much. Now I think I got the next bit too, Rocco, because I wanted to go from that to Born Bad. This is from Cicada Books, which is a publisher based in the UK. And I think it has that same kind of bold illustration style that Beth Wolven does, although it's all uniquely its own. The illustrator here is Stephen Smith. So Wolf was born bad, but you know, it's just what people put on him. He's not actually a bad person. And he thinks about how he can change. So he talks to other animals who are good at changing. So like Chameleon and the tiger and caterpillar, but their ways of changing aren't necessarily going to be a way that he can emulate. This is how a caterpillar changes. Wolves cannot do this. They cannot do that even at home. So he finally goes to a place where people accept him and they all have their own issues. I love this. It's like a support group for animals who want to be re-identified. So salamander, frog, etc. And then he's encouraged to embrace who he really is inside by his new friends. So he does a little bit of primping and then he decides that this is his new look. So this is his new look. And when he puts on his new look, he knows that he feels good.
Let's go back to his new look for a
You want to go back to his new look?
Yes.
You do?
Is that a wolf in
Sheep's
clothing? Oh.
It is, but you know what? This wolf rocks the sheep's outfit, I think, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think this does provide a perfect segue to our next
Yes.
book.
Speaking of sheep.
Oh my goodness! Everywhere.
Yes, we
Everywhere.
have Gilda the giant sheep. So, and this publisher is in Spain?
Yes, this is Nube Ocho, which
Yes.
is from Spain.
Yes.
And the one that you're holding up here is in Spanish. Actually, it's in American Spanish, but it is available in English as well.
So it's in American Spanish because the illustrator, who also created the book,
Yes.
actually did illustrations specifically for the U.S. version.
Yes, so you'll notice if you're looking in it that there are some definite nods.
Yes, we will
Yeah.
show some of those.
Yes.
Yes. So Gilda, like many giant sheeps, is misunderstood because, you know, the people she worked with, she was actually helping them because they would sell her wool and her milk, and they get, this giant sheep is giving us too much work. We have to keep shearing her and milking her. And they decided that maybe we should just sell her meat. Oh, well, Gilda, being no fool, left and went out on her own to find a better life, which many giant sheep probably have to do because they're so misunderstood. Yes. And so she travels, and she travels to a city that looks something like New York City. You know, for those people, there's the Chrysler Building. And she actually goes, but finds the city not to her liking, you know, because there were all these people around, and she actually climbs an iconic building. So there was another hairy giant something or other that climbed that. So yes, so that's kind of reminiscent. But then she leaves the city and actually finds a little sheep that's drowning. Oh, but it has a happy ending. She saves the sheep, and she goes and lives with smaller sheep. Yeah, so this is the story of Gilda, the giant sheep. And, you know, for our studio audience and also for you, just go back into your collection and see how many giant sheep stories do you have. You know, so this is one.
This will round it out.
This definitely will.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, definitely. Yes. So there you go. This is probably a good time to remind people that if you comment on this, then you can possibly win all of these books. And we've only shown you a handful so far.
Yes.
We have a lot more to go. I have another book coming from Nube Ocho, and this is called The Truly Brave Princesses, or as I like to think of it, the Field Guide to Everyday Princesses. So each one of the spreads in this book features a different person, a different woman or girl, female of any kind, different abilities, different ages, different colors, different professions. This one is a physician. This nice young thing wants to be an actress. This nice woman is going to be a cosmetologist.
With blue hair.
With blue hair, that's
Yes.
right. We have translators, astronauts, you name it. So girls can be anything. They can be anything, and this book celebrates that. I love this one because this is Princess Kristen, and she is proud to have exactly 47 freckles. She has a lazy eye, but her slam dunks are terrific when she plays basketball. So she's 7 years old, and when she grows up, she wants to be a superhero, because why not? And she loves reading books about magic and climbing to the highest point of her tree to see the horizon. And of course, we have to show this one. This truly brave princess is a librarian. Because, I mean, any librarians in the audience who want to clap for librarians? Woohoo! Yeah, you got it. And she loves going dancing with her friends and having pillow fights with her kids. And she organizes regular movie nights. In her spare time, she writes novels. Her new book is about to be published. So you rock. You rock, girl. Yes. And this is The Truly Brave Princesses. And again, all of Nube Ocho's books are available in English and Spanish. So if you're looking to beef up your Spanish collection, here's a great way to do it. Okay.
Yes, and well, all books have words. When I was at Book Expo, I actually stopped at the Flower Pot exhibit.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
And this is a book by Flower Pot, and it's called Dolores Thesaurus, and it's a book of synonyms and antonyms, and it's a fun book, and it starts out with a Dolores's thesaurus. It's a word list because Dolores likes to use big words. Unfortunately, she was having a hard time using them correctly. But with the help of some adults, she begins using the words. This is a great book to actually use with juniors in high school, because after reading this book, they're ready for the SAT vocabulary section. Yes,
definitely. Our next book from Flower Pot Press is The Peace Dragon. Now, this is an imprint that's been going on for a little while, and it's done by Linda Ragsdale. You may know How I Did It, Alphabetter, some other books like that. So this story is about a little boy who pulls on a suspicious stick he finds, and he doesn't really know what it's going to be, but it just intrigues him. So he pulls it, and what does he find? It's attached to a dragon. But it's okay, this is not a scary dragon, because this is a what? It's a peace dragon. So this is Omani, and she explains that she's a peace dragon and that she loves to spread respect and kindness wherever she goes. And she tells him more about what she does, and they become very good friends, and he's so excited. He runs with Omani to the village, and they see Sherwin, his name is Sherwin, running to the village with this dragon behind him, and they're scared because they don't know. And people are afraid of what they don't know, right? So all the villagers come together, and they actually kind of look like a monster themselves. And that they're able to explain who Omani is, and this is the heart. All of her scales are hearts. So it's a beautiful story. Linda Ragsdale is somebody who really knows about peace and the power of kindness and respect and forgiveness, because 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, she was in Mumbai when the terrorist attack occurred, and she was shot. And for her to come on the other side of that, she had multiple surgeries, a bullet traveled along her spine, and to come on the other side of that and still be such a beacon of light and hope and love in the world. I don't know of anybody else who really has quite the credibility and authority and the example in her life that Linda does. So when she writes about peace, I believe it. And I think you will too when you encounter the Peace Dragon in all the books from Flower Pot and the Peace Dragon imprint.
Well, speaking of peace, we have Peace and Me, and it's by Lantana
Press.
Yes, and they're located...
Lantana Publishing. They are located in London, but they work with authors and illustrators from all over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, so this is inspired by the lives of Nobel Peace Prize laureates, and there's about a dozen of them represented in this book. I mean, I can name some, like Mother Teresa, and...
Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, Nelson Mandela.
Malala Yousafzai.
Yes, and but there are some that you really don't know. Well, I knew Jane Addams, because Jane Addams was the first American woman to receive the Peace Prize. Wow. Yes, and the illustrations are terrific. And earlier today there was, I don't know, Scotland was like a theme in our conversation earlier, and John Boyd Orr was from Scotland, and he was one of the laureates. So it's a great little collection of picture book bio collection about the Peace Prize winners. Yeah,
and great models for ways to spread peace throughout the world. So this is also from Lantana Publishing, and this is by Nadine Cadden, and she also wrote a book called Jasmine Sneeze. Both of these books are set in Syria. Jasmine Sneeze is about a cat who cannot stand the smell of jasmine, and whenever it's around, she just sneezes. Really fun, traditional folktale, and really has the lightness of how Syria was before the current conflict. This book is set in contemporary Syria, and this is about a little boy who doesn't understand why he can't go outside, why it's dangerous out there, and why his parents won't let him go. So this is more about his story, and this is a great way for kids here, both those who have been refugees and those who know them, or anybody who really wants to know more about this experience. It helps them understand what that might be like, exercise their empathy muscles. So he goes outside because he doesn't understand why he has to stay inside, and once he goes outside, he realizes it's really dangerous and scary out there. Luckily, he's able to find his father, who brings him back inside, and they're able to take the interior and make it more of a playland, a wonderland for him, kind of in a life is beautiful sort of way. So I think this is a powerful story, beautifully told by somebody who has been living in that experience. So this is Tomorrow by Nadine Cadden. And if you're looking for books about other cultures, Montana is a great place to go because this is something they just do really well. So I've got the next book, Rocco, because it's such a perfect transition. This is called The Fox Girl and the White Gazelle. And this is about a girl who's a Syrian refugee. This is a middle grade novel. And this is from Floris Books. Floris is a publisher based in Scotland. We're talking about Scotland today.
Yes.
Yeah, Scotland. And if you would like a copy of this book, you don't even have to wait to win the whole bundle. You can just comment and say you'd like a copy, and we will send you an electronic reading copy of this one. So let me know, just put it in there, and we'll reach out to you and send you the widget so you can download it yourself. But Rima relocates to Glasgow, and she feels completely lost. She doesn't feel like she knows anybody. She doesn't speak the language really easily. So Syria is her home, and it's far away, and it's under fire. So she's also comes across Kaylin, who also feels alone and misunderstood, and they come together when they're trying to rescue some foxes that live nearby. So this is two girls who find that they have more in common than they have different. Once they are able to reach that understanding, then they're able to grow and become really close friends. So this is The Fox Girl and the White Gazelle, and I should also mention that Victoria Williamson works with Syrian refugees in Glasgow. So she's really immersed in that community and knows what she's writing about. So,
and I have another book from Floris and Scotland. So we would need 3 pins for this book because one for Scotland and one for Sweden for a Martin Weidmark and Amelia Czajak, who is
I think Polish. Yeah.
Polish, yes.
Either Polish or Czech.
No, she is Polish.
Okay, you checked.
Yeah, I checked.
You checked.
I checked. She's not Czech. She is Polish.
Okay.
Yes. The House of Lost and Found. So this is a book that begins with this. Niles was old, his eyesight was dim, and his bones creaked. He lived alone in an old, dim, creaky house. His pot plants had withered. He never bothered opening the windows. The cat, John Sebastian, grew tired of gloominess and of Niles, and one day he disappeared. So this man lives in this house with his memories. But then a boy comes and asks the man to take care of his plant. So aren't those illustrations remarkable?
They almost seem to glow.
They do.
Yeah.
So this is a book of it's a feel-good book.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It's beautiful, and it's a way that he's able to let sweetness and light come back into his life again because he's taking care of the plant.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's called The House of Lost and Found.
Yep, and that's from Floris Books. Next, we're going to move to Tiger Tales. And Tiger Tales has 2 books that actually are a little bit similar. These have die cuts in them, but they are incredibly sturdy. So I don't know if you can tell how thick that is, but it's pretty darn thick. And this one's called Under the Same Sky. It's by Britta Teckentrup. And we all live under the same sky, and we all experience the same kind of dreams and hopes. And this is a book that kind of helps us make those connections. So I'm going to show you some of these illustrations because they are just so spectacular. So let's see if I can do this. We live under the same sky in lands near and far. Wherever we are, we feel the same love in the cold ice and snow. We feel the same love where soft meadows grow. So you can see the illustrations are gorgeous. And it just kind of helps us understand.
Whales.
Yeah, whales. Yes, we have a theme of whales today too. But I think that that's just a really ingenious, could be a really good writing prompt too. Draw those connections. And you have a book that is similarly constructed.
Yes, with a die cut, and it's called Feelings, Inside My Heart and in My Head. And if you're in a situation where you work with guidance counselors or kids that are on the spectrum, that this book probably would be a value to them, but it's a value to everyone. And, so we'll just go and open here when it goes, looking from the outside, I may seem the same as you, but deep beneath the surface, feelings bubble and stir and brew. So this is a book that is a good book for sharing.
Yeah, because we all have feelings, and sometimes we don't have names for those feelings and don't know that everybody else has those same feelings.
Right,
so.
exactly.
Can you tell us about animals?
Animals?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Hello, world animals?
Yes.
Tell us about animals, Rocco.
Hello, world animals.
Hello, Rocco.
Yeah, with 360. Yes, now we'll just get back up into a good sturdy book, right?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, the amazing Atlas of Wildlife. Hello, animals. And this is a fun book because it just brings you around the world, speaking of the world. And, we have animals of Europe and of North America. Some of them look familiar. Yes, but, in North America. And when you go to South America, they may not be as familiar. Yes, but there are little flaps, so you can play with these. So what do we have there?
This is a tapir or tapir, however you want to say it. The tapir's long snout helps it to forage for food. And we've got a llama. Everyone knows llamas. Thank you, Aunt Dudney. Llamas can carry up to 30% of their own body weight. So it has little facts under all these different flaps. These are really sturdy flaps, though, I have to say.
Sturdy.
Very sturdy. And I have to say, every bookstore I've visited since in the last couple of years has had the first book in this series, Hello World. So I think this one's going to be around.
It's a great interactive book, and I could see children really enjoying it over and over and over.
All right. Well, who's ready for a story time? Does everyone want a story time?
I want a story.
Yeah. Okay. The Only Way is Badger. Yes. And this is by Stella Jones, with illustrations by Carmen Saldana. So, deep in the forest, something wasn't right. Overnight, a wall had appeared, and someone had covered the trees with strange posters. Badgers are best, pondered Beaver. Be more badger, puzzled Bear. What does that mean? Everyone was confused, but not for long. I'm only telling it like it is, said Badger. Everyone knows badgers are best. Really? Whispered the other animals. He sounds so sure, muttered Moose. He must be right. Of course I am right, beamed Badger. And as of today, I think you all need to make an effort to be a bit more badger. Gosh. Hang on a minute, spluttered Deer. I'm only trying to help you out, Badger butted in. Look, I've made a list. Number 1, can you dig like a badger? Ready, dig, dig, dig! It's no good. These hooves weren't made for digging. Evidently not, agreed Badger. I'm afraid you'll have to leave. Leave? Asked Deer. Badger nodded. No deer here, he chanted. No deer here, no deer here. I really think, began Moose. I agree, Badger interrupted. The woods are starting to feel more badgery already. Now, item 2. Badgers live in burrows, so if you can fit through this door, then you can stay. Easy peasy, said the smaller forest creatures as they skipped through the hole. Oh, I hope there are cookies. Badgers are best. Uh-oh, do you see a problem here? But some got stuck. It's no use, mumbled Moose. I'm just too big, bellowed Bear. Sorry, guys, said Badger. You just don't fit, so bye-bye, Bear. Move along, Moose. Outrageous. How rude. Fresh book. I don't like where this is going. Badger beamed at the remaining animals. You guys are doing great. Now it's time for the best Badger bark. So take a deep breath, and now... Now this is where you can get really participatory, asking the kids to bark like a badger. I have no idea how a badger barks. Any ideas? Bark, 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 snuff, bark, bark, I don't know. But-choo, she squeaks, bark. These are not good barkers. I don't think we'd pass this test.
Yeah.
Badger shook his head. That was terrible! You sound nothing like badgers. I'm afraid it's time for you to head out. Hedgehog Bunny, you're banned, and Beaver, you're a leaver. The rest of you, you're in. Badger admired the black and white signs, his shiny black and white door, and Raccoon and Skunk both perfectly black and white. Ah, fantastic. And then he spotted the birds, bugs, and the butterflies. You're all too colorful, Badger shouted. Scoot, skedaddle, and scram, and he shooed them all over the wall. Hi, guys. You're welcome over here. I like how it has some graphic novel elements with word balloons. Hey, cried Raccoon and Skunk. That's so much better, cut in Badger. This place is beautifully badgery. Raccoon and Skunk weren't so sure. It's much nicer over here. Psst, we'll get you out. Grab a paintbrush, buddies, called Badger. Let's get painting. If it's not black and white, then it's not just right. We're getting to the end. Badger painted away all day. Isn't this perfection? He smiled, but no one replied because there was no one left but Badger. On the other side of the wall, there was color and fun and laughter. Badger stopped. He was all alone. Oh dear, he sniffed sadly. Then he painted one last sign. What do you think it said? Anybody? Any ideas? No. It said, I'm sorry. At last he understood that badgers aren't best, friends are. And that's the end of The Only Way is Badger.
Ellen, next time you read this with a little more enthusiasm,
I'm
okay?
sorry, I'll try to do better. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, we have something coming up.
We do.
What?
We're going to have a short break, and during the break, we're going to show the book trailer. It's the world premiere of the book trailer for Countdown, 2,979 Days to the Moon. So this is by Suzanne Slade, and the illustrations are by Thomas Gonzalez. Suzanne Slade is actually an astrophysicist, so she knows wherever she speaks. And Thomas Gonzalez is an amazing illustrator, and I think he did illustrate what could be my very favorite book of all time, which is 14 Cows for America. So I hope you will enjoy getting a sneak preview of Countdown.
And comment, yes, during the break.
If you want to comment on the way I read Badger, please, I'm open to suggestions. So, I can work on my bear voice, I think, yeah. So,
And your bark.
Yeah,
yes,
my bark was horrible.
Right.
Yeah. So please comment, and we'll be back.
With a special guest.
That's right.
Yes, who could that be? I wonder.
All right.
Stay tuned for more when we return to the Publisher Spotlight Showcase on KidLit TV.
Many years ago, the great British explorer George Mallory, who was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there. Well, space is there, and we're going to climb it. And the moon and the planets are there, and new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked.
Welcome back to the Publisher Spotlight Showcase on KidLit TV.
Do books grow on trees? Maybe they do, because we have a book called The Book Tree, and with us we have Paul Czajak with us. Hey, Paul, you're no stranger to KidLit TV, are you?
Nope,
This is
I've
like
been
your
on here before.
Second time. Glad to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, and so The Book Tree. So tell us about The Book Tree.
So it is about a boy, Arlo.
Arlo, okay.
Who's on the cover. Loves books, but as he was reading one, happens to drop one on the mayor's head. The mayor then decides that books...
Not a good thing.
Not a good thing, and it was a hardcover. And the mayor then decides that books are far too dangerous, and he knows everything and will tell everybody what they need to know. So he decides to destroy all the books in town.
Little political undertone.
There's a little bit, a tiny bit. And so one page happens to get buried, and Arlo decides to write his own stories, which nurture the tree, and the tree then, or the page, which then grows into a tree, which then produces more books and fills the town with books.
So his stories are like fertilizer.
Like fertilizer to a seed. Exactly.
Yes. No, they help
Exactly.
things grow.
How else do you make a book tree grow?
Yes, you write stories.
You write stories.
Yes. And so how did you actually, before we talk about how you came up with the idea, the illustrator, tell us about the illustrator.
So the illustrator is Rashawn Carrier. I hope I'm not butchering her name. If you're watching, Rasheen,
You can comment and then you can win 42 books.
You can comment and win 42 books and tell me that I'm butchering your name, but hopefully I'm not. She is an incredible artist. She, the way she made this book, it's all multi-layered. So it's not just paint or pen. It's collaged. So she used actual feathers or actual gears and real pages of books to make her art. It's beautiful.
And you there's one page that we wanted to show exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, I'll show you that.
Yes,
that
with the
first
gears
page,
and the yes.
So we'll hold this up.
Yeah.
And you can see, like, around their necks is a real feather, even the birds.
And we have the gears right here.
This looks like it's
a pocket watch.
Yes, but it's made out of like parchment or something that she cut out.
Oh, she cut out a picture of it.
Exactly. So
of a watch. Yes.
And then there's like this is stamped, and then there's paint. I mean, she used so many different, mixed medias. It's incredible.
Right, and do you have a favorite spread?
I do have a favorite spread. My favorite spread, it's the sad spread, where where the mayor is actually tearing up the books. But what I love about it is that if you look at all the pages, they're all different languages, and I found out that they're the stories from Barefoot Books. They're all that have been translated into other languages that were used for this particular picture. And I think it just really pops. I don't know.
It does, and she actually uses that same motif in the end pages here too. Yes.
Yes, she does. I mean, and again, it's all different languages, all different stories used by Barefoot. There's a lot of work went into this.
So, is this your first book with Barefoot?
It is my first book with Barefoot. I should be barefoot right now.
We should. Yes, that's right.
But next time.
Next time
for the second book.
Yes. But this isn't your first book.
No. This is my seventh book.
Seventh book.
Yes, but first with Barefoot.
And so, do you do school visits? 7 books. Like you're a veteran. So.
I love school visits. I go to school visits all the time. I try and get the kids there to actually write and start with their own stories. I'll bring them up on stage and I'll get them to actually do a beginning, middle, and end using writing prompts and things like that. It's great. And I show them pieces of my own work that will never become stories, but it's all about the revision process. And I show them really what a first draft looks like. So
Right.
it's good. It's fun.
So if someone watching this would like you to visit their school, they probably can go to your website.
My website, paulczajak.com, and there's a...
Oh, that's very original.
It's very original. Exactly.
PaulCzajak.com.
I didn't want to make it too hard.
That's
for people
right.
to
And
find.
there's information on that.
Yes. there is.
And so the idea for this book, growing books. I mean, are you a gardener, or what, how did this come about?
I was actually at a library visit years ago, and nobody came.
Oh.
So I had a lot of time to myself.
Okay.
And I just happened to look over. There was a pile of books, and there was a book that had an imprint of a tree on it, and it just struck me. And the title, The Book Tree, hit me. And so when I went home, I wrote it down. Just the title, and then even the last line. The very last line in this book hasn't changed from the day I got the idea. Those are the two things that haven't changed. The
We're
title,
not going to say
We're not going to do the
okay.
last line. No spoilers, but that line. So I had those two things, but then it took quite a while to actually get the right story to work.
No, so you had the book title and the last line, and so you went home, and what did you do? Write that down?
Yes, I wrote it down. You can hold that.
Yes, I will. That's right.
I have my own writing journal, and this is actually something I show to kids during my school visits, and this is where I write all my stuff. Like I have.
Oh, look
this
at
is
that.
a mess.
So it's
but
like
this
not
is,
typed or anything.
Okay.
Like
No,
this is
no,
like
no.
something you use, like a pen or a pencil to do this.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
a pen or a pencil, and there are no commas in here. If you can find a comma in the comment section of your, I would be surprised. But these are just ideas that I write and throw them in here. Some are full stories, some are just actual notes. Like this was more of a note where the daddies can't do it, or daddies can do it. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. Now, is that from has that been a book yet?
In my mind.
Oh, in your mind. Okay. So
Yes.
when we have that "Daddies Can Do It" title,
Exactly.
you could say, "I remember when
remember
he was
that.
talking to Rocco and we talked about that."
Exactly.
Yes. So well, that's interesting. The book birthday. When does this book come out?
This comes out in September.
September
Of this year, yes.
Just in time for all the leaves to
Exactly.
fall.
And
Yes, and all the books to fall.
And to read, exactly.
Yeah, all the
when they
books to
fall,
read.
pick them up and read them.
Yeah, so a great book to have for the fall that people can order right now, pre-order. Yes.
Pre-order.
So, well, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
having me. I
being
appreciate
here.
it.
Yes, so it's called The Book Tree, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, so now we're going to switch seats right here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So good. I love this book so much.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming to visit us. Yay. And we have more from Barefoot Books.
We do.
I love that book. That's a great book. But we also...
you're almost barefoot.
I'm almost barefoot, but not quite. Yeah. Got on sandals. It's summertime, even though we're talking about fall books. So this is Jojo and the Food Fight, because we all need books to help us with conflict resolution, don't we? I think we need this book in lots of places. I'm not going to go any further than that. Anyway, so this is about Jojo and the food fight. So let me get back to the beginning.
Food Fight.
Food by D.D.A. Levy. For many days and many nights. Oh, I lost some pages. There was a food fight frenzy in the jungle. All the animals were angry with each other. Insults and rotten fruit flew in every direction. So, suddenly, a little elephant with a pink parasol, because, you know, what elephant doesn't have a pink parasol?
Of course.
Walked right into the middle of the battlefield. Hello, I seem to have lost my memory. So that's how Jojo was able to get everybody to stop fighting and throwing rotten bananas at each other and start actually talking to each other, because they want to help him figure out how to get his memory back. So it's a masterclass in deflection and how to change the conversation into something positive. And this is Jojo and the Food Fight from Barefoot Books.
And where is Barefoot Books?
Barefoot Books is in Massachusetts, just in the Boston area.
Okay.
So yeah.
So from Massachusetts, we're going to one of my favorite countries, France. And one of my favorite cities is Paris. And if you go to Paris, there are many, besides all the, the architecture and the food, and et cetera. There are bookstores, and if you go into a bookstore, you will meet the wolf.
Oh, yeah.
Because the wolf is very popular KidLit character in France and in the U.S. This is, I guess, number 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
8, yeah, 8. And this one's called The Wolf Who Learned Self-Control. Yes, and so in this book, he has to learn to control his emotions. Yes. And, it's not always easy to do that. But the interesting thing about this book, too, is Wolfette. A little love story. Yes, we have. It's French after all. Yes, yes.
Ooh la la.
Oh yes, ooh la la, and all the emotions are in bold. And here his head bowed in shame. The wolf slowly approached Louis and Wolfette. Please forgive me. I wasn't thinking straight, and I certainly wasn't very nice. So he is learning. Yes,
is.
and there's like number 9 in the works.
Yeah, the next one that's coming out is The Wolf in the Land of Fairy Tales.
The Land of Fairy Tales.
Yes, so that'll be coming in the spring.
Yes. Oh.
Yes, and one thing I love about the Wolf books is just that he's such an anti-hero. I mean, he's such a real kind of, everyone makes these kinds of mistakes. So yeah, and you're right, he is huge in France, and so is Little Mole. Now this is the very first Little Mole book we've had in the US, but there are several Little Mole books in France. So Little Mole is all snugged up for the winter, and just so comfy and cozy, and he hears a knock, knock, knock on the door, and of course it's an animal wants to come in and get warm with him. So he starts letting them all come in, and he tries to be a good host. So he does that, and before he knows it, he has a house full, or a trunk full, because this is in the trunk of a tree, visitors who are coming in, and he's starting to get a little concerned because it's very crowded. This is kind of like the Mitten in that way, but then suddenly, it's a wolf. It is not the wolf.
Not the wolf.
This is a wolf.
Even though it's the same publisher, which is
Ozu.
Ozu.
But this is more like the wolf from Inside the Villains earlier with Gecko. Yeah, and everyone screams, "Eek! It's Wolf!" And he isn't interested in being comfy cozy. He's more interested in eating them all, which is not fun. So this is great because all the little animals get together and they subdue the wolf. But are they cruel to him once they do that? No, they are not cruel. What do you think they are going to do? They're going to give him some soup.
Oh.
So, and with a straw, because, yeah, so here we go, with a straw.
Yes.
So that he can't, actually eat them. But they're kind to him, and they all learn how to get along together.
They're no fools.
They're these are
fools.
Smart little forest animals.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is Little Mole. Please open the door from Ozu. And I have the next book because I wanted to share this.
Yes.
And these are, if you've got somebody who's learning how to read, it's so helpful to have these short books that teach them different kinds of words and help them learn rhyming structures. And there's so much. I am not a literacy specialist, so I can't go into all the thought that goes into these books. But what Red Rocket Readers has done is they have taken the smaller books that kids might encounter in the classroom or in a school library and put them together, 8 of them, into one of these books. So they have fiction and nonfiction at 4 different fluency levels. And you saw something that amused you there, I think.
Yeah.
Polar bears?
No, I'll tell you after
You're going to tell me later.
Yeah.
If you want to know what amused Rocco,
Yes.
comment, and we may tell you in the comment section.
Yeah, yes.
So there you go. So they have these, and then also there's all this great information in the back for teachers and parents and other people who want to work with kids to help them learn how to read. So this is all in the back, and these are so well done. These are really, really respected in the literacy community. So these are wind-ups created for public libraries. So you can go to your public library, request it if you want to, or you can order it yourself. You can get these for yourselves, but these are wonderful, and there are, I think, 16 in this first set that's coming out. So.
And I just want to remind people
yeah.
that we have this sheet where you can check off, and if you're following the sheet, you'll notice that Ellen jumped ahead of me with that particular one.
Did I?
You did.
I was testing you.
Oh, okay.
You pass.
I pass.
You pass. So do you want to tell me about...
You tell me about Myrick. It's a new publisher,
Myrick
isn't it?
is a new publisher. Myrick Publishing. They're distributed here by Lerner, and they are based in the UK. And their real thing they're great at is silly storytime books. I mean, they're great at lots of things, but I love their books for silly story times. As you know, I love a silly story time. So
what could be more silly than the rooster wore skinny jeans? Yes, and so there we, again, we talked about the how many giant sheep book do you have in your collection? Yeah. You may have many rooster books because roosters appear in in KidLit a lot, but a rooster in skinny jeans. So there you go. That a rooster that comes into his own. He does not really care what the other animals may think. He is a fashionable rooster. Yes. I want these jeans. I bought them for me. Their opinions don't matter, and I'll show them. They'll see. And there he ends with the famous cock-a-doodle-doo. Yes.
That's very fun.
A fun book, yes.
So this is just one of the 4 books they have coming out. Another one is called Stone Underpants. I think they're all about the interesting clothes you can wear.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So our next publisher that we're going to talk about is Child's Play, which is also based in the UK. And I just want to reinforce that these books that are coming from the UK, that these are Americanized. So don't expect the OUR color. These are going to have American spelling. But this is about a pit pony named Polonius. Does anyone know what a pit pony is?
No, I don't know what a pit pony is, but does it have something to do with Scotland?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Go a little further south.
Oh, Wales.
little bit west. You're on the same island.
Yes.
Yeah, good for you there. So Polonius is a pit pony, and that means that he has to go in deep into the mines, and he's pulling the coal out of the deep pits in the mines. And this is not a fun existence. And this is all he has ever known. So one time they have to bring all the pit ponies out because they have to, reinforce the mine so it doesn't collapse and kill everybody. So once he goes outside, he sees sunshine, and he meets other horses that are like twice his size. And he has a conversation with one of them, and he discovers that the horse he's meeting is actually with some travelers. And he pulls a cart, and he thinks about, wouldn't that be fun? I would love to be somebody who got to do that. So here he is talking to the horses with the traveler community. Mm-hmm. And these are the Romany, the gypsies. Yes. So this is something that they actually do a lot of publishing on, Child's Play. Yucky and the Porno Agree was a bookless start review. So here he figures out there's a moment he can escape, and he does, and he runs to where he follows the way to where the Romany, the travelers are, and they were like, we can't really use you, you're too small. But he ends up with them eventually anyhow, because once a pit pony has seen the sunlight, it's hard to get them to go back down in the pit. And there comes a day when actually he can be very useful to them. And it's a day that's cold and dark, and they need somebody who's small who can see when conditions are not perfect. So somebody who spent all their time in a coal pit, a coal mine, they're going to be pretty good at seeing in fog. So he's able to lead them all to safety, and that is Polonius the Pit Pony from Child's Play.
Well, I have something from Child's Play also. Yeah. It's called Errol's Garden, and it's a book very near and dear to me because I am on I have an apartment here in New York City, and there's actually a roof garden, and I'm on the roof garden committee, and we all have jobs and we all have schedules, what we have to do, and it actually brings the building together in a form of a community.
So since you're a librarian, does that mean you're one of the weeders?
I'd love that one.
Okay.
Boom, boom.
Okay.
Yes. So anyway, Errol and his community in his building. And here we have a spread of the people in the elevator all work together to bring a garden and very diverse building and people, and they all work together to create a garden. And do not go to the next book, because when you skipped ahead. We lost a book. So I am going to talk about princesses.
Forgive me.
Yeah, that's
Forgive me,
okay.
Princess Arabella.
Yes. Yes, and, princesses have been in the news with a royal wedding, and Princess Arabella goes to school, and she's a strong princess, and which is good. If you're going to be a princess, you need, or anyone, you all should be strong people. Yes, and so Princess Arabella goes to school. Great book this is the second book. Is it
Well,
the second?
there are 3 or 4 in the series at different levels. So
yes, and this is Cassava
Republic.
Book. Yeah, and where are they?
So Cassava is a fascinating publisher. They have offices in London and in Nigeria.
Nigeria, yes.
Yeah.
And Arabella is a princess of color.
She is a princess of color, and the creator, just to make it even more international, lives in the Netherlands.
Really?
Yes, and is a person of color. So
that's
amazing.
another pin in the map.
I know.
Yes,
right?
definitely. Next time we're going to have a map. Great. Back to school book, I would think. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yes. And now we go to
We're back in
Rosa.
Child's Playland because I'm
sorry.
so sorry I messed up the order.
I'm
I just got
sorry.
excited.
And I'm sorry
what
that
can say?
I forgot that these were child plates.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all good. It's all good. So, do you remember Clive? Who doesn't remember Clive?
Clive, the librarian.
Clive, the librarian. Clive is a nurse. Clive is a teacher. These are great books, and they're board books. And I hear that they are big hits with the Drag Queen Storytime at Brooklyn Public Library. So Clive defies gender stereotypes. And if you comment, in addition to the actual collection of 42 books, you will also get the Clive mug.
Oh, the Clive mug.
Ooh,
Collectible, because this is a limited edition.
Oh, it's a very limited edition. It is a limited edition.
Yes.
So you'll get the Clive mug as well. But Rosa is just like Clive. These are board books, and these are the first 4 that are coming out this fall. So I have Rosa Plays Ball, Rosa Loves Cars,
Rosa Loves Dinosaurs, and Rosa Rides the Scooter.
So these, go ahead.
And some of the characters, there are other characters
Yeah,
besides
there are lots
Rosa.
of characters,
Yes. So, and one of them is Marcel. Marcel is in there. Do you have a Marcel picture? I do.
Yeah, that's
there's
great.
Marcel. Yes, and it is.
So even though it doesn't say this, in the book, Marcel's on the spectrum. So they actually had this vetted to make sure that Marcel was doing activities and engaging with people in a way that would make sense. So there's Marcel. Samira is in a wheelchair, but also it's just very diverse. Different abilities and different ethnicities.
There's Samira right there.
Yep,
and
yep.
they made her wheelchair
So
a
this
car,
is Rosa Loves
right?
Cars,
Yes.
and Samira's got her own car around her wheelchair, which is pretty darn awesome. So this is a fantastic series. Clive has just won the Little Rebels Prize in England, and why don't we have a Little Rebels Prize? I think we need that.
Yeah.
So, and I can't imagine that Rosa's not going to get a Little Rebel if Clive did. So this is coming up soon from Child's Play.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Yep.
Now I have a book.
We're back on schedule.
From Pajama Press, and they did a great. I thought that this is a great idea. What they did is they went back into their books and they selected various illustrations that show kindness. And we have A World of Kindness from the editors and illustrators of Pajama Press.
Can I say something about the cover of that book? Just
Yes.
because I love it so much. This is Suzanne del Rizzo, who did My Beautiful Birds, which was a New York Times, notable and was a One Book, One City for San Diego, and that was a book about a refugee child. So her plasticine art is just incredible.
Right, and speaking of art, by collecting these various illustrations, you can actually show readers that different way to depict the same thing. So here we have, do you say please and thank you? It's easy, And then we have this illustration of 2 rabbits. And then we go right here where it says, but can you say I'm sorry if ever you're wrong? And then we have another rabbit that's illustrated in an entirely different manner. So, so this has many levels you can use this book. And And on top of it all, the royalties from the proceeds of this book will be donated to the Think Kindness. The mission of Think Kindness is to inspire measurable acts of kindness through programs that challenge students, schools, and communities around the world. So that's thinkkindness.org. So not only is it a great book, but it's also benefiting a great organization.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. And I think you're going to tell us about...
Okay. A rainy day book. It's always good to have a book just in case it's raining. So, and this is a good day for ducks because, you know, you look out there and it's stormy outside and some old adult will say, oh, you know, it's a good day for ducks out there, whatever that means. But anyway, the various things you can do on a rainy day, and one is to jump in puddles and splish splash, and then after that you go inside and you can. You make lunch, you make hot cocoa, and you can just play inside, jump and whatever, and get out your paints and create. So that is a good day for ducks from Pajama Press.
And I have another book from Pajama Press. This is Missing Mike by Sheree Green. Now, Sheree Green is the author of the ALA Schneider Family Award-winning book Macy McMillan and the Rainbow Goddess.
And what does the Schneider Award
Family
recognize?
It's recognizing books that portray children with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So in Macy McMillan, Macy is deaf. And she develops a really strong bond with her neighbor, who is an older woman who is going to have to be going to an assisted living facility. Right. So she's having to leave her home. But they form this beautiful bond, and it's just a lovely book. And Sheree writes novels in verse, and that's kind of a thing now, is novels in verse. But they're just so gorgeously written, and the stories are so evocative. In Missing Mike, you can kind of tell from the cover, this book is about wildfires. Mm-hmm. So the wildfires are coming closer and closer to their home, and they have to leave suddenly, and they can't find Mike. Mike is their dog. This is not a person. This is a dog, but he's an important part of their family, and so they have to leave without him. And you know, the poor girl goes back. Kara goes with her family, and they stay with some friends. And there's another girl there, Jessica, who's the same age, and they get this idea of how they're going to go back and look for Mike. So I'm just going to share a little bit of section of this. This is a chapter with dragons. Dad perches on the arm of an upholstered chair while Mom and Sloan and I huddle close on the sofa bed. All of us focus on the TV, the daily news update about the fires. An image appears on screen, dark smoke looming over Pine Grove. I search for landmarks, for anything that might give me a clue about what was burned in our small town and what is left. So this is a girl hoping that one of the things that is left is her dog, Mike. I think this is going to be a season we're going to have a lot more wildfires. So unfortunately, this book is only going to gain in topicality and timeliness.
And you have sheets, I think, too.
I have sheets. I do have sheets. Thank you. So our next book, I'm just all about, I should make a comment about this right now. If you would like to receive an electronic reading galley of these books, comment and let us know, and I will send that for this book and also my next book sheets, as well as for Dear Professor Wale and for the Fox Girl and the White Gazelle. So you can not only perhaps win the 42 books, but you can get a book immediately, which is awesome. So Sheets is a new graphic novel from Lion Forge. This publisher is just knocking it out of the park right now. They do graphic novels. This is a middle grade novel about a girl her name is Marjorie, and her parents have died, and she's trying to keep her life together. They have a laundromat, and she's trying to keep that going. At the same time, there's an evil developer, because, you know, there's always an evil developer.
There always is.
Yeah, always.
And they're usually wolves, too.
Yes, they are wolves in a different way. Who's trying to take over and wants to buy the property, and she won't sell. So she kind of feels like a ghost, like nobody ever sees her. But what she doesn't realize is that there are ghosts. And there is kind of on another plan. So there's this plane. There's her and, you know, in the real world, I use air quotes, and then this is the world with the ghosts in it. This is the plane. It's the same neighborhood. And then there's one that kind of becomes a little bit of a renegade. So his name is Wendell, and he decides he wants to help her. Now that's not something ghosts are supposed to do. The art in this is just spectacular.
It is, yes.
I'm trying to find because, you know, you never can when you're really looking for it. They're all spectacular. I'll just open it to anything. So the art is just gorgeous. You know, so this is the color scheme when we're in her world, and when we're in Wendell's world, it's the other one. But then he kind of breaks in, and he becomes part of her world, and then you get that. So this is a story about overcoming adversity, about making friends in unexpected places, and standing up for yourself. And I have to share this great quote from Brian Selznick, because who doesn't love Brian Selznick? So Brenna Thumler's first original graphic novel is a reason to celebrate. She announced herself as an artist to reckon with when she illustrated Mariah Marsden's adaptation of Anne of Green Gables. Now she's illustrated her own story of ghosts and family, loneliness, and laundromats. I'm sure you'll be captivated and as eager as I am to see what comes next. So that is Brian Selznick about Brenna Thumler and Sheets.
Well, speaking of Brian Selznick, in Hugo Capre, there was an automaton.
Yes.
An automaton.
Yes.
And in the graphic novel, A Monstro Mechanica, there's an automaton also.
Yeah.
Not only is there an automaton, there's Leonardo da Vinci, yes. And there's the Papal States. And there's a very strong female character. And this is the first book. And you could probably see the image of the cover on the screen. I'm sorry we don't actually have the book here, but I actually saw a PDF of the book. And as I said, it takes place during the Renaissance. It's the first in a series. It has robots. It has adventure. It has laugh out loud humor. Definitely a YA book.
Yeah.
Yes, but I can see people that are into graphic literature, who are into history, who are into robots,
Yeah.
superheroes, all wrapped up in one series. This is remarkable. Yes.
It's really super fun. And if you comment and say you'd like us to send you a PDF of that through NetGalley, then let us know and we'll send it to you.
Right.
So we do have one more graphic, actually a few more, and we're just using this to kind of show you. Do you remember the Manga Classics? Anybody here a fan of Manga Classics? Woohoo! Yeah. So Romeo and Juliet was the first Shakespeare they did. Well, there's more coming there's more from where that came from. And the next one is we're not in a theater. We can say Macbeth out loud, right?
We can say
Yeah,
Macbeth.
we don't have to say Scottish play.
Yeah,
We
right.
can say Macbeth. Macbeth is coming.
Yeah.
And Dracula. Dun, 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 just in time for the fall. So Dracula and Macbeth, and these are just so beautiful, and it's a great way to get kids to interact with the bard in a way that they can really understand. And then a lot of times they read these and they want to read the source material. It's very, very devious what they're doing here, but it works. It works really well. So check these out. Again, comment that you'd like a NetGalley edition, and I'll send it to you.
So Anderson Press, tell me about Anderson Press.
Anderson Press is located in the UK, and they have been the winners of the Outstanding Publisher of the Year Award, given out at Bologna for Europe. And they were the original publishers of Elmer.
Oh.
So if you know Elmer the Patchwork Elephant, that was Harper has it here, but Anderson Press has actually all the other Elmer books here in this country, and they just did fantastic picture books. So
and talking about fantastic picture book with a message, and this is by Tony Ross. Tony, like I know Tony. Hey, Tony. Yeah. So,
hey, you're both Italian.
Yes, yeah. So, but he is like the leading
the highest earning illustrator, highest circulating illustrator in the UK.
Yes, and so when you are that, you can write a book with a message, and he did that. It's called An Anti-War Story, and it features, of course, ants. And one ant is named, all the other ants are called Ant, except there's one called Douglas. And Douglas, wants to fit in and be a worker ant, but he decides that, and there we see Douglas here being born in his little bassinet, and but his fate is to become a soldier, and that's what he is going to be. And then you'll see then, well, here they are becoming soldiers and falling into line in military. We have a little band there too, so a little happiness. But unfortunately, there is a war, and there are bombs, and there are bangs. And what comes after war? We put up a memorial. And this memorial is filled with A's, except right there you see Douglas. A serious book.
Yeah, it is a serious book. And this was such a passion project for Tony Ross. He is a child of war. He grew up during the Second World War. And when you grow up in that environment, war is all around you. Mm-hmm. So this is his way of conveying some of the sense of what war really is.
Right, for young people.
For
young people, yes.
Yeah, but on another side, Tony Ross also is so good at beautiful free flow illustrations. This book is by Jean Willis and illustrated by Tony, and this is called Not Just a Book. So, no, who isn't a sucker for books about books? I love books about books.
Right.
Are you with me on this one? Yeah, right?
We had the book tree earlier,
yeah,
right?
The book tree. So this is
not just a book.
Not just a book. So this is not just a book. You can use it as a hat. Did you say earlier that you had used some of these?
Yes, I haven't used a hat recently, but I've balanced a book on my head.
Okay, yes. There you go. Or a tent for your cat. Mm-hmm. It can keep a table steady.
Yes.
I've done that. Mm-hmm. Have you, and just you and me, we're the only ones here who've done that.
Okay.
It can prop a floppy teddy. Mm-hmm. You can use it as a funnel. I've not done that. That kind of horrifies me.
No. I like this.
A toy train tunnel. Actually, that really works. I think I want to do that. So it has all the things that, I love this illustration. A brick for building a tower. Mm-hmm. This is almost a plan for doing one of those Christmas trees that are made of books.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have all the things that books can do, but shoo away a scary bear.
And then there's one like cover your drink.
Cover your drink so the wasps don't get in it.
Yeah,
Here we go. Or keep the wasps out of your drink.
Right,
so this is a good summertime use,
definitely.
but this isn't coming out to the fall, Rocco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to use another
hold
book.
that thought. But books are more than words and ink. They can make you laugh and weep. And they can help you go to sleep. Books can make you really clever, and they stay with you forever. But the very best thing a book can do is to be read and loved by you. Yes, so that is not just a book.
Not just a book.
Not just a book.
Yes, so our last publisher, not necessarily, but we're coming close.
We're coming
So you
close
better hurry up and comment or hashtag. What is the hashtag?
Pub Spot Preview.
Yes.
Pub Spot Preview, yes.
Yes, but it's Toon Books. I always enjoy Toon Books, and we have 3 times 4, a Toon book by Ivan Brunetti. And this is a math concept book. So what's better than a book that has math in it, and it shows the various sets one can create to add up to 12. I'm trying to get right here. We see them creating the different sets. So this is I guess a great concept book to use for a math lesson.
Yeah, because it's 3x4, 4x3, 2x12. I can handle this level of math.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really fun. Ivan Brunetti also did wordplay.
And it's fun by the dozen.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And the other book that's coming out from Toon this fall is We Are All Me. Now this book started on 4th of July. And Jordan Crane, the author, was walking through the woods with his wife, and she looked up and she said, Interdependence Day. And it was a book about how we're all connected. So he started working on it, and it got really super complicated, and then he kind of brought it back to being simple. So we are all me. I am one, here in a body, alive in a world made of air, and of cloud, made of water, and of earth, and seed, made of sunshine and root, of leaf and fruit and bug and bee, and bone and meat and beat, beat, beat. Each cell, every one, in and around, each atom and bit, made of all of it, all of it, all of it seeking to be alive, to be aware of itself as a body, to know itself that it exists. All of it together, we are all one. And that is, we are all one.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. That's another deep book.
I know, we've got a lot of deep books up here.
Books,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well, thanks for being with us. But it's almost, our time is almost up, so hopefully people have commented. But I think we have.
We have one little surprise.
Wow,
We're
surprise!
not
I
done
love
yet.
surprises.
Not done
yes,
yet.
not
So-
done yet.
No.
What is the surprise,
Let me
Ellen?
tell you the surprise. So our surprise is, you know Chef Roy Choi, that
Yeah, I know,
fantastic
yes.
book from Readers and Eaters? So they are doing an audiobook of Chef Roy Choi. And it is being narrated by...
I am getting hungry just thinking about this. Yes.
So it is being narrated by the illustrator, Man One, who's a street artist.
He is, yes.
So we're going to have a little sneak listen, a little listen up, and we'll get to enjoy a little bit of this, and
as we
exit
Yeah,
out.
Yes. Well, thanks for being here, and so let's take
A ramen remix.
Let's lend an ear.
Let's lend a ear for sure. Yes.
Make ramen with Chef Roy Choi. Slide an egg into the broth and put on cheese, sesame seeds, and colorful greens.